about global warming. Solution to climate change.
Oh, Lord Monkton. Good morning.
Hi, nice to see you.
Nice to see you too. When you compared the youth yesterday to Hitler Youth at the Americans for Prosperity event, what was it that you meant by that comment? I was just curious.
Oh, yes, the last time that kind of robotic hysteria was ever seen in Copenhagen was when the Hitler Youth were here, when it was occupied by the Germans.
But you have to realize the difference was that the youth back then weren't arguing for clean energy and solar power. They were arguing for the extermination of Jews. So don't you think it's a little inappropriate to compare those two?
No, in fact, it's a very good comparison, although I don't blame the young people because they have been propagandized in the same way as the Hitler Youth were. The number of people being killed by this misplaced belief in climate change is, if anything, greater than the number of people killed by Hitler. There have been major food riots in 12 major regions of the planet over the last 2 years, accompanied by mass starvation and death because the doubling of food prices caused by the biofuel scam, which is itself a spin-off of the global warming scare, is meaning that poor people can't afford any longer to eat. In Haiti, they're living on mud pies made with real mud, or at least they were. They now can't even afford those. I regard this as very serious. I don't care whether the Hitler Youth thought they were doing the right thing. I don't care whether the Hitler Youth of today think they're doing the right thing. The consequences in both cases are deaths of people that we don't care about as much as we should. And that is despicable, and that's why I'm here, to try to bring the world back to its senses before any more of this slaughter continues.
Okay. But what do you say when, about the fact that we're burning coal and oil now instead of using clean energy, and don't those also have health impacts?
Coal and oil are just as clean as any other form of energy. Carbon
but
dioxide
solar power
is
doesn't
a
cause
harmless,
asthma and cancer.
Carbon dioxide is a harmless, natural trace gas which has in previous eons been present in the atmosphere, even in recent times, at 20 times its present concentration. And
sir, but the burning of coal and oil don't just produce carbon dioxide, there are other pollutants involved.
If you use stoichiometric burning, which is increasingly the method used in coal-fired power stations using fluidized bed methods, if you use, in fact, Western methods of coal burning, there's very little pollution. Of course, in places like China and India, where they don't use the modern technology, it's very polluting, but in the West it largely isn't anymore. The number of people dying from respiratory diseases caused by industrial pollutants from coal-fired power stations in the atmosphere is negligible compared to what it was in the West. So
compared to what it was when,
that if you use modern methods of combustion which are designed to achieve a much more complete burn, then you don't get the problems that we used to get and which have largely been solved in the West. I agree there are problems in the poorer countries like India and China simply because their governments haven't taken the decisions that they could take if they wished to use the modern technologies. I think they should, and I don't see any reason why we shouldn't help them to do that. But to suggest that in the West coal and oil are massive pollutants that are killing large numbers of people is no longer true. That's simply out of date.
That's interesting. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.